Oh, it did start funny, okay. I was like,
Just
what the heck?
lagging a little bit. That's the last thing we need. For it to bring it
Yeah.
high.
We'll see. Now I have to work to pay for it.
Always that part of things.
Month and a half. Yeah.
You have deer? Now it's on.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the August 19th, 2013 Assessment Appeals Court for Tulare County. Sitting panel members for today are myself, George Ozunian, Glenn Fowler, and Lance Morris. Our alternate is not here today, William McKinley. First item on the agenda is board members' comments. Hearing none, staff comments?
Yes, I'd like to introduce our other new attorney. This is Will Jackson, who will be coming from time to time. I introduced him to most of you ahead of time, but we missed Christie, so.
Welcome. And comments from the assessor?
None.
None?
None.
Okay. All right, then moving on to our agenda. Agenda item number 2, RMC Lone Star. Is there somebody here representing them?
That's the withdrawal.
That's withdrawal, yeah.
Withdrawn? And international paper, agenda item number 3. Would you like to step forward, please? State your name,
Jessica Coe.
and the clerk will go ahead and read in the application number and swear you in along with the assessor.
Can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending before the Assessment Appeals Board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Jessica Coe.
Can you spell that, please?
Jessica. Last name is Coe, Ko.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I will now read the application and APN numbers for the record. Application number 2011-00199, APN number 800-238-719000.
Okay, could you give us a summary of what this application is about?
Sure. International Paper used a third-party software called OneSource to prepare and file their annual business property statement for 2011. The timely filed 571L form was practically identical to the county's pre-printed form and was signed under penalty of perjury. The pre-printed 571L form provided by Tulare County was also attached to the filed return. However, penalty was assessed on International Paper for not using the county's form. It is our understanding that the assessor has since changed their policy and is no longer penalizing taxpayers in the situation. Given that the return was timely and completely filed, we respectfully request the board waive this penalty. I have copies of the return in question if you're interested in reviewing the documents.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, you filed the application timely. Then the county notified you that it was not in the right form?
We were not notified. Just the penalty was assessed.
Oh, a penalty was assessed.
Right.
Okay. So was the values that you had stated on the application remain the same as far as the county records are concerned?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. Is there any other evidence or documents you want to present to the board before I have the assessor make their comments?
No.
Okay. And this is on personal property?
Yes.
Okay. If the assessor would then present your findings or your information?
Have a handout.
Thank you.
The subject property is unsecured personal property consisting of trade fixtures and personal property located in Visalia. The address is 7101 West Doe Avenue, number A. The property is a warehouse where equipment is stored and repaired. And then I've listed the values on the breakdown of the values. The applicant filed an original 2011 business property statement without a signature. There was a signature on the attachment, but not on the original statement as was required. At the time, the policy of the assessor's office was to return all property statements that did not include a wet signature on the original form mailed, per section 441.5, part 1, which reads that the following is acceptable. Attachments to the property statement, provided that the attachments shall be in a format as specified by the assessor, and one copy of the property statement is printed by the assessor, is signed by the taxpayer, and carries appropriate reference to the data attached. Property statements are required to be filed by May 7th each year in order to avoid the 10% penalty according to Revenue and Taxation Code Section 463. If May 7th falls on a weekend, the following Monday is the deadline. For 2011, May 9th was the deadline to file without a penalty. The 2011 business property statement filed by International Paper Company was postmarked May 9, 2011, which was the last day to timely file the statement. However, since the form was not signed and the actual receipt date was May 13th, the auditor that processed the statement determined to apply the 463 penalty instead of returning it, since the form would not be back in our office in time and the penalty would apply regardless.
Okay.
The policy has since changed. The assessor's office now accepts property statements based on section 441.53, which allows the assessor to accept a property statement that is substantially similar to the property statement as printed by the assessor that is signed by the taxpayer. For that reason, we are not in opposition of the applicant's request to remove the 463 penalty. In this case, the applicant would have filed the statement timely if they had signed the original form. In 2011, when this type of situation would arise, the assessor would reject the property statement filing and return the form for a signature. Since the form was not returned to the applicant for a signature, it was fundamentally accepted and processed by the assessor's office. In addition, the assessee did sign the attachment, which included an under penalty of perjury clause. Therefore, it is the opinion of the assessor that the penalty should be removed from the assessment in this case. The assessor is not able to correct penalty issues per Rule 302A3. It is the board's duty to hear and decide penalty assessments, and it's the responsibility of the assessee to establish to the satisfaction of the County Board of Equalization or the Assessment Appeals Board that the failure to file the statement within the time required by 441 was due to reasonable cause and not due to willful neglect.
Okay. Would you like to rebut anything that the assessor just written in?
No.
Okay. All right, this seems to be a pretty simple situation. Do either one of you have any summaries? Ready to have the board talk about this?
We're ready.
Okay. All right, bring it to the board. Leave it to the other board members as to what their thoughts are. We've had cases similar to this, not with a signature, but with a computerized list of equipment and then those totals being brought to, forward to the return and filed timely, signed. The assessor has deemed them not to be complete and rejected them back to the applicant. By the time the applicant got them corrected to the assessor's liking, the penalty had occurred. But this is a little bit different situation. This is with a signature. So I'd like to open it up to the board and see what other board members' thoughts are.
Yeah, I've dealt with filing forms, and every county is a little bit different. Some counties will accept a computerized form generated. I really don't see a problem with waiving the penalty. The form looks pretty much identical. I've actually kind of had conversations with the county as well, that if you can get a form generated almost identical to what their form looks like and sign it and everything, I don't have a problem with it. The proper signature's there. It's just on the wrong page, but the declaration is there as well. I really don't have a problem with waiving the penalty.
I have no problem with waiving it.
And I agree. We have, in the past, considered some of these, as long as the willful intent of the applicant is there to get the return filed timely, and the boards felt that the penalty doesn't apply, and the assessors came to the same situation. Evidently, you're required to bring it to us to get a ruling.
That's correct.
Okay. So that's the circumstances. Do I hear a motion on agenda item number 3, international paper?
Gotcha, okay. I make a motion that per Rule 302A3, that to the satisfaction of the appeals board, that the failure to file the statement within the time required by 441 was due to reasonable cause and not due to willful neglect, and that the penalty be waived.
Do I hear
I'll
a second?
second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can we skip to number 6, because that was the one where we had a late postponement. And
Yeah,
then-
that
and
was
the-
my
And the
understanding.
applicant's still here, so.
So in other words, number 2 is going to be heard or not heard?
No, I just wanted to skip to number 6.
Oh, skip
So
6.
that, to number 6, so that he can leave.
I see. Okay. That'd be fine.
Under your, I just went back and looked at your local rules because I'd forgotten exactly how we do it. And what it says, if the one party wants to postpone this close to the hearing, then the clerks can still grant it,
Right.
as long as the other party doesn't object.
Okay.
And so one way we could do that is just to acknowledge that it's been postponed. And so that's the assessors has used their one postponement as of right.
Right.
And then I guess take it off the calendar.
Okay. So do we have somebody representing Gary David Clem? You're the applicant, sir? And state your name?
Gary David Clem.
Okay. And the assessor will read your case in and swear you in.
No, we're just going to postpone it.
Oh, this is a postponement.
Yeah,
I'm
this is the
sorry.
one we're postponing, so we just need to acknowledge for the record that we're taking it off calendar.
And do we have a date we're postponing it to?
Did you guys set a new date? No. Okay, so no new date as at this point. It's very early.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
actually, it's not early. It's September, it's August, so we probably do need a 2-year waiver. Yeah, so before you leave, we'll have you talk to the clerk and sign the 2-year waiver.
Okay.
Very good. We'll see you sometime in the future when they establish a date.
If they don't settle first. He brought in some data, and so.
Okay? Okay. That takes us back to agenda item number 4, Save Mart Stores. Is there somebody here representing Save Mart Stores? And for the record, state your name, sir.
Good morning. My name is Patrick Tao. With
Oh,
independent
I'm
tax.
sorry. Can we go back to the other one for a second? We do have a standing rule that the assessor is asking for findings on every case, even when the applicant did not. I would like to know if you're willing to waive the findings on our last case.
Yes.
That's what I thought. So, thank you.
Okay, sir, come on. Didn't take long. Patrick?
Yeah, Patrick Tao with Independent Tax Representatives, representing the applicant, Dave Martin.
Okay. The clerk will read in the application, agenda item number 4, and swear you in.
Please raise your right hand.
Mr. Chairman, prior to doing so, just so we don't go through and have to do a continuance, Mr. Tal, my understanding is here this morning to request a postponement for the case.
Oh,
not to
okay, so
resolve
we're not
it.
hearing this case.
Well, you're having to decide whether the board's going to grant a postponement in this particular case.
Well,
we will
in that circumstance, he would still have to be sworn in, wouldn't he?
I don't believe the rules
No,
require
not
so.
unless you're giving evidence. So, not
I see.
unless we're starting the formal evidentiary part. We can just talk about it.
Okay. All right. So you're requesting a postponement?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the nature of your request?
We are the new property tax agent for all of the Save Mart stores in California. So we're going through, they're all over the state, so we're trying to get our arms around all the properties. Unfortunately, there have been a ton of appeals kind of slammed in front of us, and we're kind of plowing our way through them. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get to all of these properties by today. I requested a continuance, the assessor. They did not agree to a continuance or for me to be able to.
And the assessor doesn't have any objection, or do you have an objection?
No, Mr. Zuni, we're not in favor of granting the postponement. I understand Mr. Tao's situation in becoming the new representative, but we've been seeking market evidence from his client for 2 straight years in order to resolve these appeals, and they've not shown a willingness to comply with our requests. And so we're asking the board to go through and carefully consider that prior to granting the postponement. If they were non-compliant for 2 years, our assertion is going to be they're going to continue to be non-compliant, and this is going to continue to drag on. So the assessor is opposed to granting the postponement.
I do want to know, we are the new agent. We were not the previous agent. We haven't been the agent for the past 2 years. We took this case on a few months ago, and this is our first time request. So we do have this by right.
Well, not less than 21 days before the hearing, you don't. The request as of right ends 21 days before the hearing.
Okay.
And do you have any idea why it's taken so long, with what the issues were with the previous agent?
I do not, but
Okay.
there's a reason why we're the new property tax agent, because previous agent, I guess, wasn't.
Okay.
And as Mr. Talon says, if it was just an agency issue, we could understand. But we have been in direct contact with the appellant as well and still haven't seen the requested information. So
Any comments from the other board members?
How long of postponement are you looking for?
Uh,
Till next month?
we
Till
can do. I'd hope for 60 days, but if the board would like to extend it to 30 days, that'd be fine with us. We need some more time. 60 days would be ideal, at least.
Looking at your application, this is a personal property tax, business property tax issue?
Real property.
Real property?
Real property, where's it?
Somehow.
Real property, okay. Yeah, it is. I assume that you have something to verify these prices you've come up with?
I'm sorry?
Have some evidence on the prices that you've come up with? Are you going to submit?
On your
some-
application.
On your application.
So the applications were not filed by us. They were filed by the previous agent. We didn't write the
Didn't put the
values
amounts in
there.
here?
No, we
No.
did not. But we took over the appeals on behalf of Save Mart from the previous agent. But we are compiling market evidence to submit to the assessor to share with them, and to basically come up with our own determination of value for each of these properties. And we are still trying to determine whether or not we're going to withdraw some of them, or pursue the ones that we believe actually have a case for reduction.
Going to do a market study on each one of these properties?
Absolutely.
You will submit that with your application next time?
A market study with our application?
No, they wouldn't do that.
Pardon?
You would submit the evidence at the time of the application.
Okay.
We don't want that.
Okay.
Less paper we have, the better.
Okay. What's the comments from the board regarding a delay on this? And have you already signed a 2-year waiver?
I submitted one to the clerk of the board earlier.
Yeah, that would be a requirement here.
Right.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
In the 21 days of hearing.
Well, they need your approval for the request, because under the regulations provide that actually they would have had to sign the 2-year waiver to make the request, but the request within postponement as of right ends 21 days before the hearing. And so after that, if the other party doesn't object, then they can still get it, as we saw with our other agenda item this morning. On this one, the other party is objecting, so then it does have to come to your board and be resolved, because under your rules, the clerk can only grant it if the other party doesn't object.
It was my understanding that if we're within the 21 days, then I can't request it with the clerk, and I would have to request it with the board, but it is still our right as a one-time continuance, our first-time request, that it is still granted by the board. We can't request it with the clerk without the assessor's approval. However, we can request it with the board.
It's still, but it's within the discretion of the board whether to grant it. It's not a request as a right anymore, which is why you're here.
And the previous agent didn't ask for any postponements or anything like that? They just didn't comply or answer any?
Correct. We spoke with actually several phone conversations with the agent, as well as several email exchanges, and then some certified letters sent to him requesting the information.
The previous agent?
Previous agent,
Okay.
and it wasn't submitted. We went to the effort then to contact the appellant to see if we could get the information from them. It still wasn't submitted, and I appreciate Mr. Towell's position. I mean, truly, it's got to be hard walking in, with where he's been given this particular case. But just with the appellant's non-compliance with the request, we don't see any further reason to continue on with these applications until that.
This is the first time that these cases have been set for hearing, right?
Correct.
And I can't speak for the prior agent, and I apologize, on their behalf for their not being able to get you the information in a timely manner. But we are doing our best, and I just asked the board to grant us some lenience to try to resolve these cases. We're kind of in a tough position here.
Do we have the option of asking them what the nature of the case is? This is a real property issue.
You don't want to get into presenting evidence.
That's exactly right. That's what I
ahead of the
was.
swearing in and doing
That's why I'm
the formal
asking.
hearing. So, is it enough information to know that it's real property as opposed to personal property?
Yeah. Okay.
It would help the board, I mean, if Mr. Towell's willing to agree to it, if the board would want to extend him 30 days, and then if he can maybe do a status update, or we can check in 30 days for a status update to see if they've submitted the requested information, we would be agreeable to that, if you can get it to us within the next 30 days so we can get to work on these cases.
Would that be okay with the applicant? 30 days?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'd like to bring it back to the board and ask your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm I'm agreeable with that. I'd like to give the, and I understand, your position. You're just getting in here trying to get things done, but we need to see some results. So by having this 30-day timeline, I think that'll assure that some things get rolling and that it gets addressed. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in favor of 30 days.
Okay, do I hear a motion on agenda item number 4 and 5?
Make a motion that we accept items number 4 and 5 to be postponed for 30 days.
That would put us on September, I made the date in September. 16th.
September 16th.
And under our records, under our local rules, we can ask the parties to waive written notice of that, and so the staff does request waiver of any written notice of that new date.
In other words, you're notified now.
Sure.
Okay. We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second regarding agenda item number 4 and 5. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Okay, we're down to agenda item number 7 and 8, which are non-confirmed. I'm assuming there's no one here from them. Can you give us a little idea of what's going on there, Mr. Assessor?
On Alliance Healthcare, number 7, we've sent them a 441D request letter asking for information. They haven't submitted anything. We haven't heard from them. One of the auditors attempted to call them, no response. So I don't really even know what their issues were with
Okay.
it.
And they've been notified regarding the meeting.
Yes.
Okay. And agenda item number 8?
Agenda item number 8, we've spoken with the applicant. The property it's in receivership at this point in time, so there were some issues about getting data. After that, communication kind of dropped off, and we haven't heard from the applicant since.
Okay. So both of them would be rejected as failure to appear. Do I hear a motion for agenda item number 7 and 8 regarding a failure to appear?
I move that agenda items number 7 and 8 be denied for non-appearance.
Okay. We have a motion on agenda item number 7 and 8. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, did we have a motion on agenda item number 2 on the withdrawal? We didn't do a motion on
We
that.
did not.
Okay,
Lump it in with
We
the
can lump
others.
that in with the others.
yeah, yes, and
Actually, it's been at least, it came in early enough that it's actually on the withdrawal calendar now. So you could just say that number 2 has been pulled and just approve number 9.
there it is. Okay, regarding the withdrawal calendar,
Excuse me just a second, Mr. Strong, don't forget to sign the waiver. Okay.
you. Okay, any issues on the withdrawal calendar? Any of the members? Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the withdrawal calendar with agenda item number 2, RMC Lone Star, added to the withdrawal calendar presented?
I make a motion to accept the withdrawal calendar as indicated, agenda item number 9, which includes agenda item number 2, RMC Lone Star, is withdrawn.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second to accept the withdrawal calendar as presented with agenda item number 2 added. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Now, I believe that concludes all the business for today. Does staff have anything else to add? Assessor?
Sir?
Okay. Unbelievable, half hour.
I think we set a record, especially when we had an actual couple things going.
Okay. Basically, at this point, with no business remaining on our August 19th, 2013 agenda, Assessment Appeals Board for Tulare County is now adjourned. We don't have anything under...